everyone, my name is Katie and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a January TBR, which I'm very excited to be bringing back to my channel because I have not done a TBR since I think September, so it's been a while. The reason I didn't do TBRs for a while is because I had just moved and I didn't want to put any expectations on myself to read a certain number of books in a month, and then I was just reading only the Shadowhunters Chronicles, so that doesn't make for a very exciting TBR because it's all the same series and my video would be like a minute long being like, this is what the first book is about, and then these are all the sequels. So it doesn't make for very exciting videos, but this month I'm finishing with the Shadowhunter Chronicles, which is kind of sad because it's been a journey, and I am going on to read a variety of books that I have planned. I've also been inspired by my Owl Crate reading journal that I got. It has a monthly TBR list, and so I made a TBR this month and I decided why not make a video about it. As you can see here, it's my magical monthly planner and I will show you my TBR page at the end. So first up for the month, we have The Cruel Prince by Holly Black, which will be a reread for me. By the time this video goes up, the live show for The Cruel Prince should be up on my channel, so I will leave a link to that down below. Basically, I reread this in anticipation of The Wicked King coming out on January 8th. I also did a live show with a bunch of lovely friends where we talked about this book, and it just made me so excited for The Wicked King to come out. By the time this video is up, I also have already finished this reread, so it's on my TBR when it's already done. But basically, in the second read, I annotated it, and I was very excited because I read this book just before I started annotating my books. I really enjoyed going through the book and underlining all my favorite parts. I think it just gave me clarity to everything that happened in this book and made me just very nervous for The Wicked King because I think stuff's about to happen. So, in The Cruel Prince, we follow Jude, whose parents were brutally murdered when she was 7 by her mother's fairy general ex-husband come to exact revenge. From there, her and her sisters are whisked away to the land of Elfame in the fairy realms. Immortal in the land of immortals, Jude just wants to find a place to belong and earn her spot among the beautiful fairies. However, to win a place at court, she must defy the wickedest prince, Cardan, and as Jude gets pulled further into court intrigues, deceptions, and trickeries, she must discover her own capacity to be cruel to survive. I absolutely love this book when I read it the first time, and the reread was no different. I just love the characters and their intensity and how morally gray everyone in this book is. It's really a treat if you enjoy characters that are morally ambiguous because nothing is black and white in this book, and it's amazing. Along with The Cruel Prince, we also have The Lost Sisters e-novella by Holly Black, which follows Taryn, Jude's identical twin, during the events of The Cruel Prince. And basically, if you haven't read The Cruel Prince, there's some stuff that goes on with Taryn that Jude does not know about, and it's kind of like her apology / making an excuse for herself to Jude because it's told almost as she's writing this to Jude. If anything, it just gave me stronger feelings about her character, and I'm not gonna say that they're positive feelings, but I do like that we kind of got that in-depth analysis of Taryn as a character kind of through this e-novella. I like when little novellas or extras and things like that are just added to the back of a book or put out in an ebook form because it doesn't feel like a cash grab from editors. It just feels like the author putting something else out into the world about their story, and you get to learn a little bit more, and I do think that it kind of helped me to understand the events of The Cruel Prince in a way that I didn't before, and I liked that extra layer of understanding, and I definitely recommend to anyone that's read The Cruel Prince to read The Lost Sisters before going on to The Wicked King because I think it adds good background knowledge. And of course, with that, the next book on my TBR is The Wicked King by Holly Black, which is coming out again on Tuesday, January 8th. I'm ordering it from Amazon, so it's going to get here right on Tuesday, and I absolutely cannot wait because the events at the end of The Cruel Prince left me reeling. I have a lot of theories about what's going to happen in this book, and I am not ready. I need it now. I need to read it. I need to find out what happens. It seems like there was a lot of promotion done for this book. A lot of arcs were given out, and so I feel like a lot of people have already read it, and people just say that this book changes things and it's crazy, it's good, and I just need it in my life as soon as possible. And next we have the one, the only, Queen of Air and Darkness by Cassandra Clare. I can't believe I finally have this in my hands. It has definitely been one of the most anticipated books of the year, and for me the timing worked out because I just got around to the series at the time that this book came out, so I did not have to wait long at all in between Lord of Shadows and Queen of Air and Darkness. And so I have it, and I'm reading it right now, and I'm feeling all the feels. I already have a lot of tabs. You can see that I'm kind of like right about here in the book. And oh my god, it's crazy. I also went to the Cassandra Clare signing. You can check out my vlog of that event. I went with my best friend Melissa and we had so much fun. So as you can see, it's signed. Cassandra Clare always excels at finales. I found I loved City of Glass, City of Heavenly Fire, Clockwork Princess. The last books in her series tend to just have this big emotional punch, and yeah, I kind of feel like I'm being punched when I read this book because it's just so good and so impactful. But if you don't know anything about the Dark Artifices, it consists of Lady Midnight, Lord of Shadows, and of course this book. The Dark Artifices takes place 5 years after the events of City of Heavenly Fire. In City of Heavenly Fire, we are introduced to the Blackthorn family, as well as Emma Carstairs, and this story takes place at the Los Angeles Institute where the Blackthorns and Emma reside. Basically, the Shadowhunter world is reeling from the events that took place at the end of City of Heavenly Fire, resulting in the establishment of the cold peace between fairies and Shadowhunters, and tensions are running high. The Blackthorn family is closely tied to this controversy because their older siblings, Mark and Helen, are half fairy, half Shadowhunter. Emma Carstairs and Julian Blackthorn are Parabatai, who are warrior partners and forbidden from falling in love, and of course, they're in love, which has many spiraling effects on their lives. We also follow a series of murders that are occurring around Los Angeles, in which the bodies are turning up exactly like Emma's murdered parents from 5 years before, which interestingly consists of both human and fairy bodies alike. Emma and the Blackthorns must catch this culprit for a chance at revenge and a chance at a united family. This series is just everything to me. Cassandra Clare has evolved a lot as an author over the years. If you've read City of Bones and you were like meh about it, and you read City of Ashes and you were like about it, keep going, because I promise you the series just gets so much better. The Infernal Devices and the Dark Artifices really just bring it to another level. All of her characters in each of the series are so distinct and they really have their own feel to them, and so I don't find that these get repetitive. You just get to explore so much more in the Shadowhunter world in each series, and this series focuses a lot on the fairies and Shadowhunter fairy relations, and that's a new aspect that I really enjoy. And it also kind of uses fairies as a metaphor for racism, discrimination, and I just think that it's a really interesting tool in which to discuss modern political issues but in a fantasy setting. And basically, yeah, my love for this series is limitless, and I'm an emotional mess reading this book always. Next up, we have The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which I'm currently reading on audiobook, and I'm already loving it so much I ordered a copy on Amazon and it should be here soon. Monique Grant is a down-on-her-luck journalist who is stunned when Evelyn Hugo picks her out of obscurity to write her biography. Evelyn is a mysterious Hollywood star who rose to fame in the 50s, but who is ready to tell her entire life story and not hold back. Monique finds herself drawn into Evelyn Hugo's world, learning her story of ambition and love, and of course, all of her 7 husbands. This book, everyone loves this book. I feel like this book has united the book community. It is universally loved. I'm only a short way into the audiobook and I'm completely obsessed. I'm enamored. It's amazing. I totally understand why everyone loves this book. The characters just feel so real and authentic, and yet you have this Hollywood intrigue and mystery of the 50s and the glitz and the glam era of Hollywood. It's really gripping, and I can't wait to continue listening to it because it's just an amazing experience so far. Next thing that I want to read in January is Language of Thorns by Leigh Bardugo in preparation for Kingdom Scars coming out on January 29th, and I'm going to a Leigh Bardugo signing on January 30th. Yes, 30th, the day after the book comes out. I cannot wait, and so I need to get back into the Grishaverse by reading this. This is the only thing in the Grishaverse, including the Grisha trilogy and the Six of Crows duology, that I have not yet read, and so I really want to get back into this world through this book. Basically, this takes place in the land of the Grishaverse, whatever you want to call it, throughout several countries, including Ravka and Ketterdam and Novi Ziemi and Furja. I don't know how to say that. Basically, this book is stunning. I mean, look at that cover, and the tagline really gets me. It's called The Language of Thorns, Midnight Tales and Dangerous Magic. Love speaks in flowers, truth requires thorns. A collection of 6 lavishly illustrated stories. You see all the thorns on the back. It's so pretty. And when you take off the cover, it's so shiny and beautiful, and I love it. This collection consists of 6 fairy tales that take place in the Grishaverse, and what's awesome about them is they're all illustrated, and as you go through the story, the illustration expands over the pages, and also like it's pretty colors, like it's just gorgeous. And then when you get to the end of the story, you have a full-out illustration. Leigh Bardugo's writing is magical and mystical and lyrical, and I know that these fairy tales are just going to have that magical, mystical Ravkin feel to them. She really excels with her world building, and I think fairy tales are a really good tool for world building, especially in a short story collection like this. So I think it's going to be perfect to get me in the mood for entering back into the Grishaverse with King of Scars at the end of the month. The next book that piqued my interest is Amber and Dusk by Lyra Celine, and I got this book in the December Owl Crate. It's actually a book that I hadn't heard of before I got it in the Owl Crate, and I love the colors that they chose for it, and without the cover, very, very pretty. When I read the summary, I was instantly intrigued, and it's a pretty short book, so I think it'll be a short read. We follow Sylvie, who has the power to weave illusions. However, that's seen as a curse in the Dusklands, where she is an orphan. So she sets out to the glittering palace of the Amber Empress to make use of her talents. She must take on a new name, Mirage, and navigate the treacherous games of the court in order to earn her spot. I find that little fantasies like these that grip me in the description tend to be hidden gems that don't necessarily get a lot of hype, but tend to be something that I really enjoy. And on the back, the little blurb says, I deserved the chance to find where I belonged, to find a world forged in sunlight and honed on dreams, as perilous and intoxicating as the colors spilling jewel bright from my fingertips. And yeah, it just seems like the power to wield illusions is such a cool power that I haven't necessarily seen a lot, and so I'm definitely interested. To round out my TBR, the last 2 books I wanted to read this month are both in the same series, and that is The Queens of Fenburn and Two Dark Reigns by Kendar Blake. Queens of Fenburn are 2 short story collections that take place in the Three Dark Crown universe and give us some backstory into the triplets as little girls and about the reign of the legendary Oracle Queen. I think that this just adds to the lore of the world, and I'm very intrigued to see what happens in this little novella that bridges the gap between the second and the third book. And I am very excited to pick up Two Dark Reigns. This book came out in September, and I just read the second book in October. Yes, in October. I find that these books are very quick to get through because Kendar Blake has such a simple writing style, and the events just go pretty quick, and I tend to fly through them. In Three Dark Crowns, we follow triplet queens, each born with a different power, where when they turn 16, they must fight to the death for the throne. And it's crazy. I can't imagine having to fight your own sister, let alone your own triplet, for power. Each sister has their own personality and their own gift, and they're each raised by a different family that basically manipulates these sisters for their own political gain, and it's so interesting. I love the lore of the island of Fenburn, where they're born, and just to see how bloodthirsty and vicious this series is. And the way that the second book ended, I really need to know what's going to happen in this one, and I'm really intrigued as to what the fourth book is going to be, because my prediction is 4 Dark Queens, but we shall see. So that about does it for this TBR. I'm very excited to be setting some new reading goals. Like I said, I was very uncertain if I wanted to continue doing TBRs because I didn't want to hold myself up to a high standard and then not read all the books. But I mean, isn't that part of being on BookTube, just setting ambitious reading goals for yourself and then maybe not meeting them? But it's totally fine because TBRs allow us to explore the books that we are feeling at that moment and that we want to reach for next. And if our plans change, they change. So let me know down below what books you are most looking forward to reading in January, and have some fun, read some books, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.